Okay, so as I mentioned, my name is Sherry Willard. I'm the Retirement Services Manager for KCERA, your retirement plan. So what I'm going to do today, we're going to go through some different items of retirement, things that's going to help you prepare and plan for your retirement. And that way, when you get down to that point, you're prepared and you don't have any unexpected surprises, okay? All right, so some of the topics that we're going to go over today is purchasing service, how that affects your retirement, reciprocity, what is reciprocity, how it affects your retirement, retirement eligibility, when you're going to be eligible to retire, what's required, how your pension is calculated, the retirement allowance options. There's different options that you could possibly be able to choose depending on your marital status. And then getting your ducks in a row. Hopefully y'all have ducks. I have chickens. They're all over the place. But get your ducks in a row, make sure everything's lined up, you know what direction you're going and you're prepared. Your beneficiary designation and divorce, this is a really important one, so we will definitely hit some points on that I really want. Hope it resonates with you, and if you know anyone, share that information with them, so we'll go over some items there. And then benefit estimates. As I mentioned in the email, hopefully each of you were able to print out an estimate from your member portal. Is everyone registered for their portal? Most part, okay. So I'm going to push the portal a couple times, and shameless plugs on the portal here. And then hopefully by the end of the presentation, or at least by the end of today, those of you who are not registered will go ahead and register for the portal. It's a great tool. It's a wonderful resource for you, along with our website. We have a plethora of information out there, but the portal is great because you can run as many estimates as you want, sitting at home in your PJs, you know, drinking tea, coffee, whatever the case may be. And you can run umpteen hundred estimates, your choice, but it's nice to have that information right there at your fingertips. It's very useful once you retire, because then you can get your statements online, your 1099s online, you can update your address, your taxes, so there's a whole lot of options for you through that portal. It makes life a lot easier. All right, so let's get started. Who's ready to retire? I am ready to retire. I've got a ways to go, but all right, so what is KCERA? As I mentioned earlier, KCERA stands for the Kern County Employees Retirement Association, your retirement association. And it's a defined benefit plan, not a defined contribution. So that's where it's different from deferred comp or an IRA 401k. The benefit plan with KCERA, it's based on specific factors, and we'll go over that on how it's calculated, but also once you meet that eligibility requirement to retire, that benefit's going to be paid to you for the rest of your life. You're never going to outlive it. Whereas, you know, your 401k or IRA 457, you could potentially outlive those monies. But your pension with KCERA is going to be paid to you for the rest of your life. It doesn't matter whether you have $50 in your contribution balance or you have $500,000 in your contribution balance with KCERA. That benefit is going to be paid to you forever. All right, so I'm going to start off with purchasing service. This is one of the few ways, if you have service available to purchase, that you can enhance your benefit. It is best for you, if you do have purchase available, it is best for you to purchase it sooner rather than later, because interest is posted every 6 months. So procrastinating is not your friend when it comes to purchasing, because it's going to get more expensive the longer that you wait. So there's a couple of different types of service that's available to purchase. Prior county service, so if you previously worked extra help, or if you have medical leaves of absence for you, the member, and you were without pay, that could be purchasable. If you previously worked for the county as a full-time employee, and when you left, you withdrew your funds from KCERA, and you have not redeposited that service, that could be purchasable. Layoffs, there's specifics with that. You would want to contact our office if you had a layoff. Definitely speak with one of my representatives, and we can look into that for you. But there definitely are a variety of different types that you can purchase. In addition to that, with the extra help, there's per diem time. If you work a temporary position like seasonal for the fire, or per diem for the hospital, those are types of items. We kind of lump them all in with extra help, but that's all purchasable as well. Any type of county service that you purchase or redepositing that prior county service, that all is going to go towards your eligibility for retirement, and it's going to enhance that benefit. It's also going to go towards your vesting, which all of you here, you wouldn't be here if you weren't already vested and eligible to retire, but it does go towards that benefit. Now, prior public service. Prior public service is anything outside of the county of Kern. So if you worked for another governmental agency, if you worked for the state of California, the city of Bakersfield, and you do not have funds on deposit with them, that could possibly be purchasable. If you have military time and you're not eligible for a pension with them, that could be purchasable. Any type of prior public service that you purchase, though, is not going to go towards your eligibility for retirement. It's not going to go towards your vesting. It only enhances your benefit once you've met that criteria to retire. And regardless of the time that you purchase, whether it's county service or public service, it only goes towards retirement. It doesn't go towards any other county benefits, health benefits. It doesn't go towards any of those calculations. There's a few different options on how to purchase this service. If you have money in deferred comp, that is a great way to utilize those funds, and you can roll those monies into KCERA to pay for that purchase. So you're basically using your money in deferred comp to increase that lifetime pension that you're going to get from KCERA. You also can do payroll deduction options, or you can do lump sum. You can also do a rollover from another IRA 401k plan. So there's a variety of different payment options for you. If you do have service that's available or that you think you might have available, most definitely submit the request to our office. My staff will get that calculated and send you an election form, and it will give you the lump sum amount, it'll give you your payment options, and it'll tell you how much service was available in that time frame. Now, if you are going to submit a purchase and you're within 6 months or less of retiring, please make sure on the form that you put that you're retiring in less than 6 months or when you're retiring, and that way my staff will make sure that they get that calculation to you as soon as possible, and that way you can use it to go towards your retirement or decide if you're wanting to retire sooner or later because of that purchase. All right, so reciprocity. This one gets everyone tongue-tied. So reciprocity is basically a link between most governmental agencies in California. You cannot have more than 6 months from when you leave one agency and you start with the other, and you can't have any overlap in service. So if you were to, let's say for instance, you left the state of California or the city of Bakersfield, and you left your funds and service on deposit with them, and you started with Kern County, you had less than 6 months in that time frame, and you were terminated with them before you started with us, you could possibly establish reciprocity. If that is something that might apply to you and you aren't sure of it, most definitely contact our office and we can check on that for you. Another option is establishing reciprocity out of Kern County. The same criteria, no more than 6 months, and you can't have any overlap in service, but that is an option for you if you're going to another qualified California government agency. Now, the benefits of reciprocity: your combined service will go towards your eligibility and your vesting. But the biggest benefit is when you get ready to retire, we're going to share salaries with that other agency and vice versa. So if you have reciprocity coming into Kern from CalPERS, or the city of Bakersfield, and this was 25 years ago, and you were making way less money way back then than what you're making now, we're going to share salaries with them, and PERS will use your salary from our system to calculate your pension that you're going to get from them. So you may have only had 2 years with them, but they're going to pay you a pension on those 2 years based on the salary we provide to them. We're going to pay you a pension on your years with us based on your highest salary with us. So you're getting 2 checks. So it's a pretty good deal. So that's definitely something to look into if that's if you had reciprocity or you were with another government agency. So definitely look into that. All right, I get this question so often, even from new people that started. They've been here like 2 hours and 10 minutes. Like, when can I retire? When? All right, so for general members, regardless of whether you're general or safety, 10 years of service credit, minimum age of 50. For general members, if you have 30 years of service, you can retire regardless of your age. And for our safety members, once you have 20 years of service, you can retire regardless of your age. So it's not uncommon for me to have a safety member that's 48 years old and they're retiring because they've already had their 20 years of service. And then regardless of service, if you're actively employed and you are 70 years old, you can retire even if you only have 2 years of service. I have a little footnote at the bottom, service credit. That is earned service, reciprocal service, and any purchased county service, not the public service. How is my pension calculated? So this is the fun stuff. All right, so as I mentioned, there are certain factors: your age at retirement, your final average monthly salary. So this is for Tier 1, this is your highest 12 consecutive months of salary. For our Tier 2, our Pepper Tier 2 members, this is going to be the 36 months, the highest 36 months, and that's averaged out. The same with for Tier 1, it's your highest 12 months averaged out. Doesn't have to be your last 12 months or your last 36 months. It's your highest consecutive throughout your employment. So if you took a voluntary demotion the last year of your employment and you made more money those previous years, our system is going to pull that highest salary. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the last 12 months, okay? And then your total years of service, so that's going to be your earned service and any purchased service that you have in the system, including your prior public service. So if you purchased some military time, all of that time together. And then finally, your benefit tier. So whether you're a Tier 1, general Tier 1, you're at 3% at 60. Your safety Tier 1, 3% at 50. Tier 2, 1.62% at 65. So all of those factors combined is how we calculate your benefit. All right, so what you see here is a matrix. This matrix is in the very back of our handbook, our retirement handbook. We have a few different matrices. This one I pulled is just for the general Tier 1 members, but we do have it for our safety, for Tier 2 members. It's in the retirement handbook. It's around page 25, 26, somewhere around there. This matrix is a great tool to use along with your portal, because what you can do, if you horizontally, you're going to find the age at which you want to retire, and vertically on the far left side is your years of service. Match those up. That's going to tell you approximately what percentage of your final salary you will be entitled to when you retire. This is a great way for you to mark, I want to, at age 50, when I'm first eligible, I'm going to have X amount of years. And then go down diagonally each year that you get older and highlight it. And that way you know every year this is what percentage I'm going to be at. And that way you kind of can look at it and know that's where my goal is. I'm going to retire at that age. But if I have to go sooner, this is the percentage I'm going to be at. But it's a great tool. It really is. All right, so this is a blown up version of that matrix just to give you an idea. So for a general member at age 50 with 10 years of service, they're looking at 20% of their salary. As you can see, every year that they get older, it increases. So at 55 with 15 years of service, this member's looking at approximately 37.5%. So just an idea, something for you to think about, doing if you want to know what percentage. But this, in conjunction with running those estimates on your portal, is a really good tool to use. That way you're prepared and you know where you stand. All right. So retirement benefit options. I'm not going to go into full detail on these, but I am going to explain some basics on what they are. As I stated in our retirement member handbook, we actually have each of these options listed in the handbook. They're also on our website, and you can get more detailed information on the website or in that handbook. We have a few different options: the unmodified, option 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have an enhancement, which is the temporary annuity option. Now, for our married members, if you are married, there's only 2 options available to you. Per California and also per the retirement law, you're only eligible for the unmodified option and option 2. The reason: California is a community property state. Also, the retirement states that your spouse can't receive less than 50% of a continuance. Well, the unmodified option with KCERA is going to give you the maximum benefit. That's the most money you can get. But if you're married, it's going to leave a 60% continuance to your spouse without you having to take a reduction. So pretty nice. Automatic 60% continuance to your spouse or registered partner if you're married on that unmodified option. The unmodified option also gives you the flexibility to change your beneficiary. So if something were to happen, your spouse predeceases you, you get divorced, you need to change your beneficiary, you can most definitely do so with the unmodified option. Does not necessarily mean someone new will be entitled to that continuance, because it's only eligible for an eligible spouse or registered partner, but that option does give you the flexibility to change your beneficiary, and it's going to give you the maximum benefit. If you are single, this option, like I stated, is going to give you the maximum benefit, but it's going to give you that flexibility to change your beneficiary throughout your retirement. Option 1, this one's not really common. This is the only option that allows someone to name their estate. What this option does is it takes your contribution balance, and let me back that up. When you retire, we use your contribution balance first to fund your benefit. So every payment that you get paid, it's basically deducted out of your contribution balance. So that balance is going to be depleted within a few years or so. But never fear, like I mentioned, your pension's paid to you for your lifetime. So once that balance is depleted, then that's where the county picks up, continues to pay your benefit for the rest of your life. With option 1, what it does is it takes a smaller amount out of that balance, an annuity, so a smaller amount, so it stretches out the length of time a little bit longer. So instead of a few years that balance is going to be depleted, it's about 10 years. It does not leave a continuance, so there really isn't a huge benefit, because if you live longer than the 10 years, then your beneficiary is still going to be receiving the same thing that they would have if you would have chose the unmodified option. So this one's not too common. When you get ready to fill out your retirement paperwork, if you're not married, if this is something that you are interested in or would like more information, most definitely speak with the representative at that time. So option 2, this is the only other option that a married member can choose. This is a reduced monthly amount to you, but it's going to leave 100% continuance to your beneficiary. If you are unmarried, you can also choose this option. It's going to give you a reduced amount, and it's going to leave 100% of that continuance to your named beneficiary. Now, you are locked in with your beneficiary. So if something happens and your beneficiary passes away before you, or if you're married and something happens and you get divorced, you're locked in with that beneficiary. You cannot change that beneficiary whatsoever after you retire. So definitely can think about that one before you make that decision. But this would be for someone, let's say, an unmarried person, and I want to leave a continuance to my child, my daughter, my adult daughter. I can choose option 2. When I go to retire, my benefit's going to be lower because the actuary is going to have to base that benefit on my daughter's age because they're going to have to pay that out to her for a lot longer. But when I pass away, she's going to get 100% continuance of my benefit for her lifetime. All right, so option 3. This is not available to married members. This option is going to reduce your benefit, but it's going to leave a 50% continuance to your named beneficiary. You can only name one, and you are locked in with your beneficiary with this option as well. And option 4, so this is the option I was mentioning where you can name multiple beneficiaries. So it's going to leave 100% continuance, but you can name more than one beneficiary. So if you have 2 children that you want to name, you can split it between them 50-50, and when you pass away, they would get the 100% continuance of your benefit. It would be split between them 50-50. Now, if one of them passes away, that doesn't mean that the other one is going to get the full 100%. They're still by law only going to be able to get the 50% continuance. And once again, you're locked in with those beneficiaries with this option, and it would reduce your benefit. It's going to be based on the youngest beneficiary's age. So this is an option, and it is not available to married or registered members either. All right, so the enhancement, the temporary annuity option. This is basically a way to level out your monthly income, taking into account your Social Security. It does not affect your Social Security. We just merely use an estimated figure from them for when you turn 62. Basically, what KCERA will do is, based on your age at retirement and the estimated amount that we get from Social Security, we're going to front you this additional, we're going to front you a percentage of that estimated amount from Social Security. We're going to pay that additional amount to you every month, and when you turn 62, Kern County is going to permanently reduce your Kern County check by the full 100% that you're getting from Social Security. Because now at 62 is when you're first eligible to start drawing your Social Security from, drawing your monies from Social Security. Whether you opt to do that or not, that's up to you, but by law, KCERA has to permanently reduce that benefit if you elect to take this option at retirement. So it does not affect any survivor continuance. So if you're married, it's not going to affect your spouse. If you were to pass away, their continuance is going to be based on your benefit without the temporary annuity option. So this has its positives, but it has its negatives as well. This is something that you might be interested in. You would definitely want to speak to the representative when you get down to filling out your retirement application, and they can go over it with you. The easiest way for me to explain it, for instance, if someone's age 50, they're going to be a general member. They would be receiving about 35% of whatever Social Security is going to pay them at 62. So KCERA would front 35%. So if Social Security says you're going to get $1,000 at 62, we're going to front you about $350 every month until you turn 62. But when you turn 62, KCERA is going to permanently reduce your Kern County check by the full $1,000. And that's a permanent reduction. So it's a way to level out that income, taking into account your Social Security. So in some instances, it can come back and bite you on the backside, later on, because you're reducing your lifetime pension. So definitely something to think about. And if you're like I said, if you're interested in it, please talk to the representative, to one of the benefit staff when you fill out your retirement application. Okay. All right, so the death benefit. When you get ready, when you retire, there is a death benefit, as Mary Lou mentioned, and it's a one-time $5,000 death benefit that would be paid out to your named beneficiary. This is why it's so important for you to make sure that your beneficiaries are current and up to date. Now, if you pass away as an active member, this $5,000 death benefit is not paid out. It's for retired members only. In addition to that, you have to be retired from Kern County. If you have reciprocity to another agency, so for instance, you left Kern County, you went to the state of California and you're with CalPERS, and you retire from CalPERS, CalPERS is going to be paying that death benefit, not KCERA. So only one agency can pay it. I lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. The $5,000 death benefit is taxable because it's not a life insurance, so your beneficiary will be subject to those taxes. Your beneficiary for the death benefit does not have to be the beneficiary that you named for your continuance if you're a married member. So it's not uncommon for me to have a married member have their spouse, as they're supposed to, named as their primary beneficiary for the continuance, and they have their children named as the primary beneficiary for the one-time death benefit. You can change that beneficiary for the death benefit as often as you want to, and it can be anyone you want. So it's pretty nice to be able to have a little bit of flexibility on that. All right, what should you do when you're about 6 months before your estimated retirement date? Well, you want to get your ducks in a row. You don't want chickens no more, you want ducks. So if you've been divorced, it is imperative that you make sure that you have given KCERA a copy of your judgment. Our legal team will review those documents in order to determine if there's any community property that needs to be addressed. If there is community property, we are going to need what's called a quadro and also a joinder. These are items that our legal team would go over with you. But if you have been divorced during your career with KCERA, with the county, with your special district, through your employment, you must make sure that KCERA has a copy of that judgment, and you want to do it sooner rather than later. Our legal, like I said, our legal team has to review those documents. It could possibly be that you may have to go back to court and amend it if KCERA is not mentioned in those documents. So definitely make sure that you have provided the necessary documents to KCERA. Our legal team has their own email address. It is legal@kcera.org. And like I said, they will do a review. If you're getting ready to retire, I highly recommend getting those documents emailed over ASAP to give our staff time, our legal staff time to review it. And that way, if you do have to go back to court to get something amended, you have enough time to take care of that. We cannot place you on retirement payroll if our legal team has not reviewed those divorce documents and signed off on them. If there's anything pending, any type of community property pending, we cannot place you on retirement payroll until everything has been settled. So I don't want to see you not get on retirement payroll in a timely manner, so please make sure that you get that taken care of. If you know anyone, any coworkers, any friends that have been divorced, share that with them. Make sure that they know that they need to provide that to KCERA as well. We also have online information. If you go to our website, the KCERA.org, as I mentioned, we have a plethora of information out there, but we also have information, really good detailed information on the divorce issues, so you can go out there and review that information as well. If you were divorced before you started with the county, before you became a member of KCERA, I don't need to know that. But from your hire date, if you named Jane Doe as my spouse and a month later you and Jane Doe got divorced, I'm going to have those divorce documents. Okay? So anytime through there. If your wedded bliss turns into not so wedded bliss after retirement, you want to make sure that you contact KCERA. If in the interim between now and your retirement date, that wedded bliss turns into not so wedded bliss, and you're contemplating divorce or divorce is looming, you've already started the paperwork, you can contact our legal team. They will actually provide a complimentary review of your divorce documents, of your judgment, to make sure that KCERA and your pension with KCERA has been addressed appropriately in there. We can't give legal advice, but we can most definitely make sure that everything is in order and you're not going to have any hiccups when you get that to the judge, because it's definitely a lot harder to have to amend those documents after the judge has already signed it and it's been a done deal. So you can most definitely do that. All right, so one of the other things that you want to do if you're getting in that about 6-month mark, you want to run an estimate on your portal. So if you haven't registered, register for your portal. Run that estimate, contact KCERA, contact our benefits staff if you have any additional questions on, let's say, the options or the temporary annuity. Anything of that nature, if you wanted to inquire about the reciprocity on how that would benefit or make sure that that's been established. Confirming service eligibility, but that's also going to be on your portal. So if you go out to the portal, it will show you that service. Just so you guys know, the portal is actually linked to your pension account record that KCERA, so myself and my staff, the record that we look at, if you call us, your portal is a direct link off of that. So any estimates that you run would be just like estimates that we ran. The information that you're seeing is the same information that we see. So hopefully that might help ease your mind when you're running those estimates that that is the same information that we have access to. You also want to inquire about payoffs if you're in the middle of doing any service purchases, because you cannot continue purchases into retirement. They have to be paid in full by the time you get ready to retire. So you want to make a decision on what you're going to do with your accrual balances. You don't have to have a hard and fast, but kind of get an idea of what you want to do with it. Are you going to roll it into deferred comp? Are you going to get paid out for it? Are you going to use it and take terminal vacation? That's really the one you want to consider. If you're planning on doing terminal vacation, you really want to nail that down, because if you have a date in mind, let's say for instance you want to retire on April 1st, so that you get that COLA for 2020 or whatever year you're planning to retire, and you want to burn up all of that vacation that you have on the books, you definitely want to make sure you do that calculation yourself so that you can start that vacation and be able to run it out before the April 1st or right at the April 1st cutoff or whatever that cutoff is going to be. Run that estimate, and then you can speak with your payroll clerk and nail it down and make sure that your dates are matching up with the dates that your payroll clerk has come up with. Your sick leave hours, those are going to have to be paid out to you. You cannot use those for terminal vacation. The county policy is it has to be vacation hours only. So your sick leave, you're either going to use it or roll it into deferred comp. Liliana Fahel from Deferred Comp, she will actually be presenting after me. She'll go over all the specifics and ins and outs of that, but that is definitely something to consider. Just so you know, if the county, if you elect to have those hours paid out to you on your final county check, you're going to get taxed a supplemental tax. That can be anywhere upwards 40%. So that's a huge chunk. I don't know about you, but I don't want to pay an extra 40% on my taxes. So everyone's tax situation's different. It may benefit you when you go to file your taxes. I don't know, I've heard that from some members, but you can definitely roll it into deferred comp. There are some specifics though, and like I said, Liliana will go over all of that with you. And then the percentage of your sick leave that you're going to be entitled to, you want to refer to your MOU. You can also speak to your payroll clerk. It's going to be dependent on your years of service, but it's the seniority, your vacation seniority date that the county has, the auditor will have, or your department will have. And so you can refer to your MOU, or you can speak with your payroll clerk to find out, because I would hate to see someone retire a biweekly too early and they're at 24.99 years and they had to go one more biweekly to get the 25 for their sick leave to get 100% of that payout of the sick leave. So definitely, you know, check those numbers. It's also in the employee handbook too for the county employees. And then your vacation and comp time, that's always going to be paid at 100%. You're going to get 100% of those hours regardless of how many years you have. But the sick leave, that's based on years. It starts at 20 years. You have to have a, well, you're going to get paid out 50%. And then it's once you hit 20 continuous years, bumps to 75, and then 25 years, it bumps to 100. That's for the county. What that date is for you, that's where you want to speak with your payroll clerk and get that seniority date from them, and they can let you know what that is. So as I mentioned, payout versus rollover, what you're wanting to do, considering what's going to work best for you. The rollover is tax deferred. Liliana will go over all of that. And then as I mentioned, terminal vacation. I hate calling it terminal vacation. I like transitional. Terminal just sounds like at the end of that, see ya, sorry, nice knowing you. So transitional vacation, maybe if we use it enough, maybe we can get them to change it to transitional. So transitional vacation, this is a great way to use up those vacation hours. You're continuing to stay on payroll, you're continuing to stay on county health benefits, you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you're accruing retirement service credit, and you're using up those vacation hours at your regular tax rate, whatever taxes you have for your workable earnings. So that's a great way to use up those hours, but you're getting yourself physically out of the position and taking a nice vacation up to your retirement date. So definitely something to consider. All right, so another thing with the terminal vacation, you will continue to accrue vacation and sick leave while you're on terminal vacation. Most of the time the payroll clerks take that accrual of the vacation into account when they're doing your calculations, but you will continue to accrue sick leave while you're on terminal vacation as well. When you're on terminal vacation, yes, you will get paid holidays because it's just like if you're on regular vacation, yes. And a lot of members will do terminal vacation right before Christmas, so that way they get those holidays and then it extends them out to right around March if they're, you know, close to maxed on their vacation hours, so it's pretty nice. All right, so there is a couple of special districts where you do have to return to work that last day, but for the county, you do not have to return to work from terminal vacation. Once you start your vacation, it's sayonara, see ya, nice knowing y'all, I'm gonna go be retired. You don't have to return, but there are 1 or 2 special districts where you do have to return, and that would be something you would want to just verify with your payroll clerk. Now, KCERA cannot calculate the terminal vacation for you. That either has to be done by your department, or some departments will have you go on to tracks and they'll have you do those calculations yourself. So KCCERA cannot do that. My staff cannot do that, unfortunately, and I apologize, but it's much better for you and even your payroll clerk, so that way you know for sure what your dates are. And then I recommend talking to your payroll clerk about 4 weeks, maybe even 6 weeks before you believe you should start terminal vacation. So do your own calculation, then about 4 to 6 weeks before, talk to your payroll clerk and they can help you nail down those dates and go over any specifics that the department may require. The department may require you to fill out sign a certain form, whatever their office policies are, they can go over all of those ins and outs with you. One other thing I like for members who have reciprocity, does anyone have reciprocity established to and from? So with the reciprocity, when you're getting ready to retire, I recommend contacting the other agency and run that estimate on your portal. that will give you your final or your estimated monthly average, your highest 12 consecutive month average. It'll say your final average monthly compensation. Take that number. When you call the reciprocal agency, ask them, hey, I'm looking to retire on this date. This is my, estimated monthly average, and they should be able to give you an estimate of what your benefit will be in that specific system. And then they'll also go over with you what they require, because they'll have their own separate retirement application that they're going to need for you to fill out. Their rules and policies are different than KCERA's rules and policies. So you want to just make sure you have all that nailed down, because the last thing you want to do is miss retiring, like retire with us on March 31st and use April 1st as a retirement date with them. You have to retire on the same day. You have to retire concurrently to keep that reciprocity intact. So you definitely want to make sure you have those ducks in a row for sure. They will also provide you with a timeline. Once you submit your application, then my staff, we will coordinate with them, we'll share information with them, and that way they have our highest salary, vice versa. And when you get ready to retire, you'll get your pension from us, and then they'll pay you for your pension with them. All right, isn't that a pretty picture? I feel like I hear like harps playing and little cherubs coming down, retirement, it's right there. All right, so as I mentioned, our retirement application. So when you get down to about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, you're getting it, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's right there, it's right there. So you want to contact our staff. If you have any unanswered questions, you can go to our website and obtain our retirement application packet. It's interactive on our website. It's a lot easier to fill it out on the website. It's a PDF version. Once you fill in the first page of that application, it's going to auto-populate all the redundant information through there. It'll probably take you 10 minutes to fill it out. It's super easy. CalPERS's application, not so much. It's a little lengthy, so good luck. Also, once you have it completed, print it out so that you can sign and date it, KCERA cannot take the application any sooner than 60 days before your retirement date. So if you're planning to retire April 1st, we can take that application packet anytime after February 1st. Only exception is if you're on terminal vacation. We can actually take that application as soon as you start vacation. We can't take it before, but once you start that vacation, we can take that application. In the application packet, once you fill out, there's really only 3 pages to it. We've got the application, the beneficiary packet, or the beneficiary section, and then the payment authorization form. It's pretty easy to fill out. We also require a copy of your current driver's license. If you are married, we require a copy of your spouse's current driver's license or state-issued ID for either one of you. We require a voided check for your direct deposit or a printout, an account verification form from your bank. Some of the banks, you can actually just log into your account and print it out. That account verification form, what we're looking for is it needs to have your name on it, because you have to be on that account. We cannot deposit into an account that is not yours. It has to be a U.S. bank. We can't do international. And it has to show the electronic account number and the routing number on that form. So voided check or that printout. And then if you are married, we also will need a copy of your marriage certificate or marriage license, and just a photocopy. I don't need the endorsed stamped one that you have to go over to the courts and they do something in red ink and it costs you like $80. I don't need that. A photocopy will work for me, okay? And so as I mentioned, the packet's going to have those 3 items: the application, beneficiary, payment authorization, and your pension is subject to federal and state taxes only. No FICA, no SDI. We don't take out union dues. Any life insurances that you're paying on to Chimenti or anything like that, those stop. None of those deductions continue into retirement. So if you have a life insurance that you're paying on through Chimenti, you most definitely want to, or any other company that's coming out of your paycheck, most definitely contact that agency before you retire and see if you can pay them independently, if it's something that you can continue after retirement. It will not be able to come out of your pension, but you may be able to pay them independently. I just don't want you to have any lapse in coverage or lose anything. Strata, you can actually, if you have a deduction going to Strata, you actually can set that up to where you can continue that deduction into retirement. You would just need to go to Strata and they can get that initiated for you. Your taxes, as I said, it's subject to federal and state only. The state tax is based on the state you reside in, not the state you worked in. So if you decide to move to Texas, Oregon, Nevada, Florida, where there's no state tax, you're only going to be subject to federal taxes. Now you can choose whatever elections, I'll be right with you, whatever elections you want. You can choose to not have any federal taxes withheld, but it is taxable monies. You will get a 1099, and you'll have to, meet up with Uncle Sam for coffee and get that all squared away when the time comes. So definitely talk to your tax consultant, your tax preparer, when you get ready to retire, if your income's going to change quite a bit, or if you're not sure. Like I stated, we can't advise you on taxes. We are not tax preparers, but we can let you know how much the taxes would be coming out if you choose certain options. All right, as Mary Lou mentioned, the REOKC packet will be provided to you when you submit your application. If you mail that application packet into us, because you most definitely can do that, not email, you can mail it, you can drop it off, you can have somebody bring it in for you, whatever works for you. We will either provide you with that REOKC packet in person, or we will mail it to you if you send that application packet in to us. And it will have all of the wonderful goodies Mary Lou mentioned and the booklet in there. Also, once you submit that application packet, whether you do it in person or you mail it in, drop it off, you send it to us in our office, whatever works for you, my staff will review that application packet and they will provide you with a timeline, a retirement timeline. It's a yellow timeline because I want it to stand out, kind of like the roadmap, the yellow roadmap that everybody got. Put that up on your bulletin board, your refrigerator. It's just a roadmap to kind of keep you little points to trigger your memory if anything were to change, little things for you to know, little nuggets of information. But the timeline that my staff will provide to you once you retire or get ready to retire, you submit your application packet. It's yellow because we want it to stand out, but it's going to tell you you're retired. This is your last day employed. This is your first day of retirement. This is when you're going to be on our payroll. This is when you'll get your retroactive payment between this time frame, and this is when you're going to get your first full retirement deposit. Paydays are once a month. They're always on the last day of the month, last business day of the month, and you're going to go about 4 to 6 weeks from the time you get your final county paycheck to the time you get a deposit from KCERA. When you retire, you're going to go about 4 to 6 weeks. So the county, because you're on a every 2-week payroll, and with retirement, you're on monthly, and then the county is 2 weeks behind on that payroll, so there is that lag, but it's about 4 to 6 weeks. If you want to try to shoot for that 4-week window, you can most definitely talk to my staff when you get ready to retire, and we can usually work with you and find a good retirement date that's going to put you in that shortest time frame possible, so you don't have to wait 6 weeks. I mean, that's a long time, but we do have to wait for the payroll feeds and so forth. So 4 to 6 weeks is the max, though. Who has this? So see, all of you are eligible to retire, so you're all within about 36 months, give or take, some maybe a little bit more, 413 months. Y'all, I'm at 413 months. You want me to break that down a little bit longer, and it makes me want to cry. 5,003 days. Yeah, so see, put it all in perspective. Yours is 36, 48 months. It's not bad. Just remember, poor Sherry, 413 months to go. I love my job. It's great. This is fantastic. So yeah, a little check mark there, jail cell wall, whatever you call it. All right, so you want to contact, finalize your details. You want to get down to the nitty gritty, make sure all your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted. You want to inform your department. A question we get a lot is, well, when do I have to let my department know? Do I have to tell my department? You have to tell your payroll clerk. You do, I'm sorry. I mean, I know you want to just throw the papers up in the air and walk out, but you need to let your payroll clerk know. The reason, your payroll clerk is responsible for generating the change of employee status that takes you from active to retired. That change of employee status is what uploads into my system after you get your final paycheck, and that's what flips everything in our system and allows us to go ahead and run your calculations and retire you. So very important, make sure you talk to your payroll clerk. We always recommend at least, the customary 2 weeks. I have had people go in the day of and tell them that they're done, but that may delay you getting on retiree payroll. So just keep that in mind. You also want to make sure that you contact health benefits if you're planning on continuing health insurance with the county. We recommend giving them at least 30 to 45 days notice. The same with deferred comp, 30, 45 days notice. And both of those departments, I have presenters coming today. They will go over the specifics of each of their departments, what they require, timelines, et cetera, and they'll go over all that with you. Strata, Chimenti and Associates, the union, like I said, all of those will stop. None of that continues into retirement. Strata, you can most definitely contact them if you want to continue any deductions. And I don't know the benefits, but you can continue the union, and you would just want to contact them if you want to contribute into the union after retirement. That deduction actually can come out of your pension as well. And then, as I mentioned with reciprocal agency, you want to make sure that you retire concurrently. Use that same day, submit your packets and documents to them timely. And just so you know, CalPERS, they pretty much require everything to be notarized, so keep that in mind. On that, items to keep in mind. We cannot provide an income verification form prior to you going on retiree payroll. So that means no big purchases, don't go buy a car or big old mansion or some huge wall-sized flat screen TV that they want an income verification. We cannot generate that until after you go on payroll. So that's going to be the first full month you're on payroll. Typically, a good rule of thumb, wherever you're going to receive your final county paycheck, you're typically going to be on KCERA's payroll the month after. So if you get your final county paycheck on December 15th, you're more than likely going to be on our January payroll. That means you're going to get a retroactive payment somewhere around the middle to third week of January, and your first full deposit will be on the last business day of January. But that timeline I mentioned that my staff will provide to you, that will have all of that broken down for you. Also, you can safely rescind your retirement all the way up to the day before your retirement date. If I decide to retire, it's a done deal. There's no rescinding. It's not happening. But you can safely rescind up to the day before your retirement date. Once you sign your final papers, it's a done deal. The final papers, your final election forms, it's a done deal. You can't rescind it. Now, I do have members that come back and work as retired extra help. So that is an option. There is a 6-month rule that you can't come back for the 6 months, though, after you retire. But those are options. And then, as I mentioned previously, very briefly, the cost of living adjustment. So the cost of living goes into effect April 1st of every year. It is a maximum 2.5%. That's not a guarantee. There may be years, as there was when we had the recession, we didn't get the full 2.5%. Now, the last few years, our retirees have received that full 2.5%, so it's been really nice. We usually find out in our office around end of January, February, what the COLA is going to be for the year. And so as long as you retire on or before April 1st of that year, you're going to be subject to whatever that COLA is. So if you retire on or before April 1st of 2020, you will be subject to whatever that cost of living increase is for 2020. And it's a compounded COLA. So the following year, whatever that COLA that we get in 2021 will be based on your pension and the COLA that you got in 2020, and it just keeps compounding. So it's a great benefit, it really is. Now, any year that we get more than 2.5%, it has happened in the past. If we get more than 2%, so let's say, for instance, 2020, we're going to get a 3% COLA, hypothetical. I don't know what we're getting. We get a 3%. You're still only going to get the 2.5%, but we're taking that 0.5% and we're putting it in your COLA bank. And that way, in the future, for any years where we aren't going to receive the full 2.5%, we can pull from that COLA bank and give you that maximum. Okay? So definitely, one thing I want to point out is, if your birthday, if we're gonna, let's say for instance, we're gonna have the full 2.5% COLA, and your birthday falls in August, it actually may be more financially beneficial for you to go April 1st and pick up that full 2.5% as opposed to going in August just to pick up another quarter of an age factor. So look at it, run the numbers, contact, our benefits staff, and they will definitely look at that for you. But for instance, for a general member, going from age 59 to 60, you're at 2.9% for each year, and at 60, you're at 3% for each year. That's 1/10%. Every quarter that you get older, it only increases 1/4%, whereas missing the COLA, it's a full 2.5% compounded. So definitely things to think about, and my staff will most definitely be able to answer those questions and look at that for you. But these are things also you can run on the portal. You can run an estimate to see what it would look like retiring April 1st and what it would look like retiring on your birthday. So definitely look into that, consider that when you're getting ready to choose a retirement date. We recommend making your retirement date at the end of a biweekly, completing that biweekly. That way you get service credit for that full pay period. So Friday would be your last day, Saturday would be your first day of retirement. So it's the day after the last day you got paid, and my staff would most definitely, help you with that. The payroll clerks are really good, especially with doing the terminal vacation, trying to make sure that you complete a biweekly so you get service credit for it, because we can't give service credit for partial biweeklies. But yes, the service credit is every biweekly, but the age is quarters. So definitely something to think about, mull over when you're, nailing down retirement dates. All right, so the estimate review, I just really briefly wanted to touch on this. If you're looking out on the portal, you're going to see, if you're married, it's going to show you the unmodified and the option 2. And so what it's showing you in the left box is what your estimated benefit would be. The death benefit amount, that is what the continuance would be to your spouse or partner, the registered domestic partner, after you retire. And these are just, estimates. We audit your entire file when you get ready to retire, after you retire. Once you submit your packet, we audit your entire file from your hire date to your retirement date. The other thing that you'll find on your estimate under the service tab up at the top is how much service that you're going to have at that point in time. It will also show you your earnings. If you let the system do a default where it just pulls whatever the highest monthly average is, then it will actually break down each of those biweeklies for you and show you it's pulling from this period from 11/26 to 12/26, and that's biweeklies, December 2011 to December 2012. And it will break down those biweeklies for you, and it'll show you your monthly average compensation. That would be the figure you could use for when you call the reciprocal agency. And then it also, under the general, it'll show you your beneficiaries. It'll have all of that broken down for you. So it also gives you a brief of what the options are. This is something you will also see in that retirement handbook and out on the website that I was telling you about. A little bit more description, a little bit more in black and white. So we're here to help. We want to help. We want to help you as much as we can. We have different ways of contacting us, and you can contact us by phone. You can email us, because our benefits staff, we have our own dedicated email that is memberservices@kcera.com, KCERA.org. And then our legal staff is legal@kcera.org, our website. And then something new, we have a YouTube channel. Have you guys checked it out? Yeah. We've got a YouTube channel. We're building up our video library. So we have a few videos out there right now. You can subscribe to it's under KCERA, KCERA. This presentation will actually be recorded and out there. So you can go back to it, review it. Anyone that you know that wasn't able to make it, they can hopefully after the holidays be able to pull up the video and get all of the information. We'll have some of the other presenters recorded as well. So check it out. Any questions that you have, though, most definitely contact us, email us. You can, unfortunately, unless you're getting ready to retire within 6 months or less, we cannot do one-on-one appointments. But if you are divorced, if you have divorce documents, like I stated, please make sure you contact our legal team. Make sure that we get those divorce documents. It's really important that you keep your beneficiaries current and up to date, not just while you're actively employed right now, but while you're retired. When you retire, make sure you keep them current and up to date, keep your address current and up to date. All right, guys, that wraps up our presentation for today. I thank you very much, and I'm hoping that all of the information that you obtained today will help you plan for your retirement, and you have a better grasp, and it'll help alleviate any fears and anxieties, so that way your transition from active employment to retirement will be as smooth as possible. But please don't hesitate, contact us. If you have any questions, my benefits staff is available. You can contact us via the email, the portal. Please don't forget to register, and check out our YouTube channel. But I wish all of you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will see you soon when you get ready to retire. So thank you so much.